Welcome to the very first episode of Insight to Inspire. I'm very fortunate to be joined by my good friend Omar Al-Dib. He's also the co-founder of the See You Smile Club. In this episode, you'll hear Omar talk about his early years and how building relationships has been essential in his ability to foster communities that have an impact.
So, I am known as Debo. I've been called that most of my life. My last name is Al-Dib, that's why, so people just played with that. And I am 27. I studied and thankfully finished computer science. I don't know how I finished, but I managed. And I was blessed and lucky enough to have opened a club like See You Smile. And that club began as a joke, became a club, became kind of a movement, and also like an NGO. So we did that. So yeah, so I think maybe if I want to talk about kind of how all of this became a thing, I think I have to it stems back to when I was young. And it's not like those, when I was young, my dad told me to open a club called See You Smile, and that's how it's not what happened. But I think one of the one of the nicknames I was always given, or the titles I was always labeled as, was an ideal citizen. And I'm not just fluffing it, I'm not making it up. My dad would always call me the ideal citizen, and I think it was just because if I find something that fell, I pick it up. If I would just do those things, and I'd just smile at people, I'd say hi and stuff like that. So it just stemmed, that was something at the back of my head. I was always called by my dad as a joke, ideal citizen, ideal citizen, ideal citizen. And I took that, and in a way, it always felt, and this is me looking back to it, I always felt like I have to live up to that. I'm not ideal in any way. I do a lot of dumb things. I always look like an idiot to people, but because of that, it's okay, I might not be able to do a lot of things, but being kind, being nice, doing nice things, helping people, you can kind of get to that point. You might not be ideal, but if you take each day and you say, you know what, how can I help someone today? How can I change someone's life? How can I put a smile on someone's face? It's small stuff like that a lot of people, maybe they don't think that way. And I know that sometimes it is exhausting. Sometimes it is something that it's okay, do I have to go make lunch bags and give them to the homeless today? Do I have to go donate blood? Do I have to do this? Do I have to do that? And it's not, a lot of it isn't to show people that I am the ideal citizen that my dad was saying and labeling me as, but it's between me and myself. It's why would my dad call me an ideal citizen? Why would someone call me nice? Why would someone call me kind? Why do people associate me with, aside from me beginning it, why would people look at See You Smile and say, oh, I see deep? Why is that a thing? And that's why I kind of take things, I look at things that way sometimes, and it's yeah, I don't know. So maybe I think I talk too much, but basically I think in the beginning, when I said I want to take it back to when I was young, so with my dad calling me an ideal citizen, just giving me all of these pats on the back, good job on this, good job on that, aside from some of the nice things that I would do, cute things that a kid would do, I would always do a lot of dumb things. So I wasn't the best student at all. I was, putting it nicely, I was a dumb kid. And basically, I would get into fights, I would, some scuffles, I would not do that good in school, and I don't know, it's those times that give you a one-page essay as a kid, that tell you, okay, you have this book, it's 50 pages, finish it, and then just give us one page about it. I'd flip to the back of the book, the explanation, and I'd copy paste the exact same thing, and so obviously they'd know. So like I would do that just to get away with it, and I'd get caught. So like it's a lot of dumb things I used to do like school-wise. I'm not the type of kid that liked to know my multiplication. I don't want to do like physics. I don't want to do chem, any of the stuff. So it was always, how do I just get by? And like I'd know what I have to know to pass. I'd know what I have to know to get past this class, and then okay, like delete, and then okay, begin the next thing. So that's how it always was. But then also as a sibling, as a son, I also wasn't the best. Like I was nice when I had to be, but then when I, like at some situations, I would like not be the nicest. I wouldn't be like, again, like people see me now, people talk to me now, they say, oh, like you seem nice and stuff like that. But like anytime I look back at my childhood, the most like people, I'd look back and say, I wish I went back in time just to apologize to them. I apologize that you had to put up with this kid, is like my mom, dad, and like siblings. So that's one of those things that a lot of people, maybe they don't think too much about. A lot of people, they don't like look back and like acknowledge the fact that, listen, like, yes, people go into phases. Yes, people like become not so good, and then they excel in life and they make it up to them. But at some point in time, someone had to put up with you. And like when I look at that point in time, it's like I can't go back, and I can't apologize enough. I can't do that. And it wasn't like I wouldn't like push it too much, but like it's just a stain at the back of my head that's like, I wish that wasn't a thing. But in some way that led me to be who I am now. And I say that because when I came to uni, so I lived in the Middle East, and when I came to Canada, it's not that I came against my will, but I came not wanting to come to Canada. All the people that I know went to the same school, and I ended up coming to Canada. My big sis, she came to study, and I just followed. Yeah, so like that made me kind of look back and say, okay, all the people studying in one place, and I get shipped to Canada. Like, this sucks. It's not gonna be fun. I don't want to meet anyone. I don't want to talk to anyone. And then anytime I would go back, I'd go spend it with the people that I left in that school. So I'd go back and see my family once, like when I wake up, I see them like as I go to sleep, but in between I'm out. And as fun as that is as a teen, as fun as that is as like a uni with a college student, like it's still family. It's still like they, just like you've been gone that long, they had to say bye to you and wait that long to see you again. And I go and spend it with people that I can just like, I don't know, like it's not the same, so it's not family. And like imagine, like I can't even imagine how it is. Like imagine I have a kid, and when he hits 18, he goes to uni and then comes back and goes out. It's like, hello, like I fed you. So that's how, so all that was happening. And when I ended up going back, I visited, didn't see my family that much, but I saw a lot of people at the same time. When I came back to Canada, I spent exactly 11 months without going back. And that 11 months, I looked at it, and like the whole time I would always look back and say like, I miss my family, I miss my family, I miss my family, but I'm taking school, I can't go back. So when I went back, I said, you know what, like something has to change. And by the end of those 11 months, so again, I lived in the Middle East. My mom, dad, they would take us to the mosque, they would tell us how to fast, they would teach us Islam and the beauty of Islam. But being a kid that is playing Call of Duty half the time and listening to like Eminem and all this kind of stuff, it's like, okay, like that's cool, but like I gotta go listen to this song. So I wasn't the most, so aside not being the kindest, not being the best kid, best son, best sibling, I also wasn't the best Islamically. I would do what I had to do, like if it's like And like I know this is some stuff that people like say, okay, like you don't have to say, you don't have to explain, but I want people like, I want you to know, I want anyone watching this or listening to this to also know that it's not always like you have to find, like you don't just follow blindly, you don't just believe in Islam and say that, you know what, like, okay, my mom and dad used to tell us, okay, Salah, and then I'm gonna tell my kids, okay, Salah, like no explanation in between, no the actual feeling of Islam. Like if you don't have that, it doesn't mean anything. It's just like Salah is just basically yoga. So like that's how I've seen it. Like it's like when I used to go to the mosque, if I look back in time when I was like 18, 17, 16, I'm just doing yoga and going back home. And like it sucks, and it sucks looking back, and like I see kids now going to the mosque and stuff, and I it's not that I'm jealous of them, but I feel like I wish I had that. And like my mom and dad would give me that, but I wouldn't take advantage of it. My mind is just someplace else. So that was that. So when I look back at Salah, and I look back at like how things kind of like what happened at the end of those 11 months I spent in Canada, I met someone. He also wasn't doing the best with like school. He wasn't doing the best with like Islam, with anything. Like he's just dealing with a lot of stuff, and like he would also like deal with substances and like, you know, consume stuff and stuff like that. So basically what would happen is we sat down, we studied, and the guy told me that he wants to kind of get his life back in a way that he wants to like focus on life, focus on school, focus on stuff. And we kind of made like a deal that I help you, you help me, and we both motivate. And that's kind of what kicked off how I got back into like not just like believing in Islam and God and all of the stuff, but it got me in the path of I actually want to know. I actually want to like know what I'm saying in Salah. I want to know why I'm fasting. I want to know why I give sadaqah, why I help those in need and stuff like that. Like this is something that I had to find by myself. I can pick up the phone and ask my dad, he'll tell me. I can go to the mosque, ask an imam, he'll explain it. But it's not the same. So like basically it's just submitting to God and submitting to the concept of Islam and the ideas and beliefs and lifestyles and stuff like that, and just alhamdulillah, like that was, I think, the change in my life. Because end of the 11 months I saw my family, and they noticed the change like automatically. It's like what happened? Did you meet someone? Do you want a wife? Like what's going on? Like what's going, like who just wakes up one day and like Islam, Salah, oh let's go to the mosque and stuff like that. And it was a sudden shift, but it was building up because and I think a lot of like it helped a lot knowing that by that time, like that I began, me and that guy, like kind of kicking things off and like Islam. It was also exam season, so that helped. So we made a lot of dua. So that was that. And then kind of fixed things with like my family. And just when I went back that time, I did not tell that many people that I went back. So I technically spent the whole time with my family. And slowly, it's like keeping that connection, coming back to Canada, and then beginning to meet people, getting involved in some stuff like associations and stuff. And I was involved in a lot of associations, and I met a lot of people. And when you meet a lot of people, you have to do it at the expense of something, and I chose school, which was dumb, but it was good. So what happened is I stood up and said, you know what, like I want to, it's not that I want to meet as many people as I can so I can go and like show people, oh look how many people I know, but it was just let me meet as many people as I can because it was cool. Like it was I'm not explaining it. I'm not explaining it. It's so I think like meeting a lot of people, people, like I know a lot of people that always look at that side of, you know what, I want to meet so many people, so I look like the guy that knows this many people. I look like that, not famous, I don't know what they call it, like the...
Like this popular.
Exactly. So like, people see that as a flex in a way, or they see it as it's a cool thing to like put, like label myself as or something, but it's not. Like it's, you don't just want to meet people, you don't just want to like high five and stuff and then just go about like the day. It's getting to actually know them, and like that's why I said I had to do it at the expense of school, because you can't meet this many people and then also have time to go study, also have time to go to class. And what happened with me is I met people, but then I also met people. Like those people I would actually go the distance with. Like I'd know what places they like to eat, what they like to do and stuff like that, and like anything that I can do. So as much as I can know, as much as I can, like as close as I can be, but then also if I hang out with someone, I spend a lot of time with them, you'd always have that expectation to keep it up. And like if they get used to you, if you get too close too quickly and then you spend like a week, 2 weeks, it's always that feeling of disappointment, like knowing that, yes, I love you and I love spending time with you, but I have to go focus back on school, have an assignment going on, and I just met someone now and I'm talking to, like, it's not like I'm meeting someone and then, okay, goodbye, and then I go talk to someone else, and then goodbye, and then go talk to someone else. But as you meet people, as you hang out with them, it's always that feeling of, you don't want to let someone be alone. You don't want to let someone feel like, this guy just talked to him a bit and then he stopped talking. Like, I don't know how to explain it.
Build relationships.
Exactly. Like I build them to a point that it's just, I like meeting people. I like meeting new people. I like knowing about things that people deal with, how I can help them and stuff. But then it's just keeping up with all the people that I meet. It was just tough. Like, I just made it to a point that I'd get close to someone like a few weeks, and then I'd get close to someone in the meantime with a few weeks, and then I stop hanging out with this guy. One day I stop hanging out with this guy, one day I stop hanging out with that guy. And then what ends up happening is it's just me jumping, but then just building a lot of connections. Not that anything that I would use, but just me knowing these people, me knowing of them. And if I leave them, we don't leave it at a fight, we don't leave it, no one's upset, no one's annoyed. It's just, I always have at the back of my mind, maybe they got upset because I stopped asking as much, I stopped texting as much, I stopped calling as much. And that's always been a flaw in me. Like, that's something that I don't know how to fix, and that's something that, yeah, so like so it's just, and at some points, like, it just makes it like you'd hang out with people, you'd do a lot of stuff, and then you'd make it to a point and you just wake up in the middle of the night and it's like, I have to do something with my life. And then, I have an assignment due, and then I go do it. So it's stuff like that that kind of just shift my attention when I hang out to, okay, like, let me go focus on this. And that's kind of how it shifts the people that I hang out with. It's not that I put like a 2-week stopwatch and say, okay, like, as soon as this finishes, like, peace out. Like, that's not what I do, but it just, sometimes it just falls in that way. But again, so like that, all that aside, it's just me letting you know that with all the people that I met, it was always, obviously it's always going to be a benefit if I'm in a club like the SAO, if I help out the ISA, PSA, like any of these associations, if I help them with an event, like a ski event, and they ask me to sell tickets, it's easy because I know all the people I'm selling tickets to, and all I have to do is tell them, listen, like, I'm coming and all these people will come, and then they'll jump in. And all you have to do, and like, this is like a cheat code to anyone that wants to sell tickets in any event, you find each squad, each gang, pick one out of those people. Don't go convince all 10 of them, convince one of them, and he'll convince the 9. So that's what I would do. So like, I'd know people, but I'd look, okay, like, this guy, he seems like if he goes, maybe some of them would follow, and then that's what ends up happening. And this will lead to basically what happened with me, so what happened one day is I was helping sell tickets to a ski event with, I think, SAO. No, it was with PSA and Salon. So I was helping them sell tickets to an event. And basically what happened is I sold a bus of 50 people by myself. And I put all 50 people in one bus, and I was gonna lead the bus. So it was gonna be the funnest ski event of all time. And the bus is gonna be fun, the event is gonna be fun, and then the bus back is gonna be fun. So in my head, I'm like, oh, like I'm excited, I'm so happy and stuff like that. And my dad's taking me to school at 7 a.m. And obviously my dad lived in the Middle East, and like my dad, like, is a businessman and stuff like that. And on my way to school, my dad, like he just looked at me, and like I was just telling him about how I sold the bus, I sold the tickets and stuff like that. And he looked at me, he's like, wait, like, do you guys get paid? I'm like, no. He's like, what? Why is it, like, why are you so excited? Okay, like, have fun, but it's not, like, nothing is gonna come out of it. Because like, and it made me think, like, the whole bus on the way to the place, it was like, maybe, like, I don't know how long it was, but the whole way, all I'm thinking about is, like, why am I so excited about selling a bus? Why am I, like, why is this something, especially at the time, a lot of the associations, a lot of the events that we do was like the big, let's get a bunch of buses, let's take a bunch of students to go do an activity. And like that made me look at all of the events I helped with, all of the things I was involved in, and I just looked at it, and I know it's gonna sound dumb, but I looked at it in the sense of, okay, imagine it was the flip side. Imagine my dad was telling me how in uni he sold the whole bus to a ski event. Like, I'm not gonna look at it and say, oh my God, good job, Dad. So I looked at it, I'm like, this isn't something that I can go to my kids and tell them, this is amazing, look what I did. And like, I know that's an odd way of thinking, and that's just, maybe that's just me, and this isn't like a jab at anyone selling tickets. Like, obviously it's still a fun event, it's still something nice to do, and it's still fun. Like, you go with a bunch of people, you go skiing, you come back. But it was just between me and myself, I always knew that, and this isn't me, like, this isn't meant, like, I don't want to make it like a sob thing or something, but it's just, I always felt that, like, okay, obviously I'm not the best kid, I'm a dumb kid, I don't know how I'm gonna finish uni, and I don't know what am I gonna do with my life, and I genuinely, like, actually felt I'm not gonna amount to anything, and that I won't be able to get to anything in my life. I'm just gonna live a basic life. And basically the way that I thought about it, I'm like, I have to do something meaningful in my life, because, and obviously this goes back to the whole me looking into Islam and all this kind of stuff, that also plays as, like, impacted that thought a bit, because I might die at any time, anything can happen, and like, imagine putting myself in that position that I met all these people, and I built all these connections, I taught myself to do a bunch of stuff, but then I just used it to go skiing, I used it to go do this, A, B, C, and stuff like that. So that made me kind of take a step back and say, okay, like, what else should I do? What can I do? And I was pushed a lot to get into, like, student politics. I was pushed a lot to get into, like, student union, like the CUSA and stuff like that, and something inside me kept telling me not to. And I know one time they asked, like, I think someone asked me to, like, he was in CUSA at the time, and he told me to make a decision, and he wants me in, like, the slate. And I know exactly, like, the way that it happened, I kept pushing, and then one day I said, you know what, let me just make salah, I'm gonna ask God if this is a good decision, then if it's not. And I made dua, I make it the next day, and I went that day to actually say, you know what, like, I'll give it a chance. The day that I showed up, I messaged the guy, I call him, and he tells me, oh, like, something popped up and I had to leave. And in my head, I know that might not be a sign. Maybe I should have waited a bit, but I just took it and said, you know what, this is a sign from God, like, I should do something else. So that's what happened. So basically what happened with me is I felt, you know what, like I have to do something with my life. What can I do and stuff like that. And I think like I was always one of those people that just goes on YouTube and then watches like wholesome videos. A kid meets his family, like he goes off to a place and then he comes back and he meets his family. Like, I'd watch all those videos that kind of make people like happy, make people smile and stuff like that. And like someone helping like a puppy, someone like giving food to the homeless, someone doing A, B, C. And then basically what happened is I just began watching like a lot of those videos, and I'd spend my night watching these types of videos, so wholesome videos, Islamic videos. That's all I would do. And then like some videos I'd watch Islamically would be like Numan Ali Khan. He'd explain how kindness and doing stuff to give back and stuff like that, it makes you feel some type of way. And then I'd see videos of people like this guy taking off his jacket in the middle of the cold and giving it to a homeless guy. And it's like, at what level am I gonna feel like, you know what, like I bought this jacket at 50 bucks, 80 bucks, 90 bucks, I'm gonna go give it to someone that I don't know and it's gone. Like at what point does that someone get to that level? And I know it's not something, it's something that people would think it's like instinct, but like how often do people walk downtown and see a homeless like guy asking for like money and change, and like by instinct you'd think, you know, oh, like he's gonna use it to buy like alcohol and weed and stuff. So, and that was, I was one of those people that would think that way, but like I'd also noticed that a lot of people think that way too. So what ended up happening with me is while I'm watching those videos, I found one video that kind of just took my attention, and it was someone that just became 26 and she wanted to do 26 acts of kindness. And I looked at that, I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. It's not the concept of the video and when she became 26, but it's like, you know what, like I want to do something like the acts that she's doing, because it's simple acts like leaving change at a bus stop, taping change on a vending machine and like saying the next thing is on me, feeding like ducks, like basic stuff, like giving gloves to a homeless guy outside. So it was small acts that maybe total costed like 20 bucks, but at the same time, I just looked at it, I'm like, this is something nice. And I took it to a couple of people and I told them, let's do something like this. Let's do these types of acts. And when I mentioned that as a joke, and that's why I said this club began as a joke. Yeah. So when I said like the club began as a joke, it actually began as a joke. So I showed this video to these people and they looked at me and they told me, okay, open a club. And at the time I was in 5 clubs at the same time. So they said that, I'm like, okay, what would we call it? And obviously CU is the school, but then, okay, what do we add to it? So kind CU, smile, smile CU, happy CU, happy CU this. And I didn't connect the dots. And when I said CU smile, they liked it. I didn't connect the dots because they said like, oh, like that's nice, and it's a sentence and blah, 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 like see you smile, like actually see you smile. I did not connect the dots until maybe a week. And I did not know why they liked it so much, but I'm like, okay. On the way, on the bus back home, I made the logo. So I made like a bunch of logos. All of them looked bad except the one that we have, so this one. And yeah, so basically what ended up happening is I made the logo and we took the joke and we went and we kept it as a joke. So as soon as we mentioned it, we said, so as soon as I mentioned, okay, like, you know what, let us actually open this club, let's call it See You Smile, check when the deadline of signing up a club, like check when the deadline is, it was that night. I'm like, wait, just sign it just in case. And then I made the logo, I played with a few things, I began thinking of ideas, what can we do, what can we not do? And then a few days into it, I noticed like Khalid Khadatai, he calls me and he's like, oh, by the way, Dib, like, and to sign the club, by the way, okay, so like going back, to sign the club, you need 10 people to like sign up in QSA Hub and then just click as like, I don't know what they call it, but like they have to be in the club. So I called, like we had like me and 2 people. I called 7 people and told them, give me the like email and then the ID and all this kind of stuff, and I'm gonna log in and I'm gonna sign up the club. And we had the 10 people. Once we got the 10 people, 1 week goes by, and then Khalid mentions, and Khalid was in ISA, and he mentioned, hi Dave, like just like I know like it's exciting, it's fun and stuff, but did you look into funding? I'm like, oh wait, like that's a thing? And he tells me, just look it up. I can give you like a few Excel sheets just so we can use and we can play off and then just think of new ideas and stuff like that. And then I call one of the people with us and I asked them to check when the deadline of funding was, and it was that night. I'm like, what is going on? So we submit the funding, we sign up the club, and then we just begin telling people about it and what we did. And anyone that's in the See You Smile chat knows, in any of the See You Smile chats, they know that it's mayhem. So basically people just get added to a WhatsApp chat and just people just keep talking and like, let's go sushi, let's go do this and this. And what happened is we knew a lot of people, so we added anyone that we think looks like a nice guy, anyone that looks kind, that smiles a lot, we'll just add them to a club called See You Smile. And guys, this is a new thing. So, and like it was the biggest meme in 2016 that anytime someone says smile, they look at me. It was so annoying, but it made it to a point that, you know what, like it is what it is. And on 10/10/2016, we met up. We scheduled a meeting on that day to say, you know what, let's think of ideas. Let's think of things to do. And we had, I think, about 20 people show up, maybe 20, 15 people. And it was basically give us, like, tell us about you, tell us what makes you smile, give us any idea that you can. We had no basis, we had no idea what the club was gonna be. We just want to do acts of kindness, we don't know how to do it. So just give us one act of kindness that you think should happen in school, that you think we should do, we can think of a way to do. And that's when a lot of ideas would pop up. And like, just to quickly jump into it, what happened is Halloween was coming up, obviously, like in a couple of weeks, and that was one of the ideas that I thought. And I'm like, you know what, like we'll pack goodie bags filled with candy and a positive message and would go give it to kids in Chio. Genius idea. And I thought I was like a genius. I thought like, I know I'm doing it, stuff like that. And we had someone donate like 2 Minion costumes. And I was just excited, and like I just felt, you know what, like let's do it, and like let's go to school, we'll pack the stuff. And it was just me and like a few people. We packed, I think, about 250 goodie bags. And I called Chio the night of like a day or 2 days leading up to Halloween. I'm like, hi guys, like I'm calling you to tell you that we got a bunch of goodie bags and we want to give it to the kids. We want to make them happy. They can't go out and get candy, so we'll get the candy to them. No. What? You can't. I'm like, why? And they just tell me, listen, like it's obviously like it's like the kids, they might have like not diseases, but like things that, like they can't eat peanuts, some kids can't eat milk and stuff like that. So they just shut down the idea, and I just sat back with like, like a bunch of goodie bags on the table. I'm like, what am I gonna do? So we set up a table. We know the people in UNICEF, like Hassan and Ahmed Fayez, and they gave us like, they had 2 tables booked, and they gave us one of the tables. They said, go nuts. And basically what happened is we put all the goodie bags, and they had positive messages, and we gave them out to students. And like people that I know of, and stuff like that. And to be honest, like it was at that point, as soon as I finished, we took a lot of photos. We gave it to people in the caf, and then I went home. And that was, I think, like I failed a few exams in my life and I was disappointed. It did not top that disappointment. That I had so much expectation. I felt that this is something that I'm gonna do, this is that. And then I noticed that I ended up just giving candy to people that I know. Like, what the hell did I just waste the past week doing? And then the next day we get a call, someone in QSA telling us that a lot of people have been asking, a lot of people have been talking to us about you guys. And so many people came to us and told us, what is this club? Because you don't know the impact that this had on mental health, blah. like exam season was coming up and this was happening, and these guys made us happy, they made us smile, and we want to know about them and stuff like that. So that automatically, like within a day, I just looked at it, I'm like, yo, like, it's not that bad. And that was that small motivation that kind of kicked things off, that it just made me feel that, you know what, like, that showed me kind of the whole basis of See You Smile, and the concept of See You Smile is, it doesn't take much to make someone happy. It doesn't take much to make someone's day. And even if I made one goodie bag and I gave it to someone that was studying and he had an anxiety attack, maybe candy wouldn't help, but like me giving him that and telling him good luck and then leaving without waiting to get a thank you, without waiting to get like a hug, I think that kind of embodies See You Smile and the stuff that we like to do. So that's kind of how it kicked off. Things would happen, like I'd get into a lot of, and like I think maybe to highlight kind of why I was watching all those wholesome videos, why I was looking too much into Islam, like in the middle of 2016, is I was dealing with a lot of stuff, and things made me upset, things got me like I just felt down. And anytime I feel down, I have to find something to like fill my time. I have to find something to fill a void, and I do that quickly. So I don't dwell too much on, like when I'm upset, I don't spend like 6 months upset about a specific thing. Okay, I'm upset, so what? Like, what do I do about it? And then I just stand up and say, okay, you know what, let me do something. Think of an event, think of an initiative, think of something to do, anything. And I know on TikTok and like videos, you'd see people like, they go to the gym, you see people like doing like activities, doing things on the side. With me, it was, how can I know how it feels like to be upset. I know how it feels like to be low. I know how it feels like to not be in the happiest state of my life. So how do I take that step to know that someone else won't feel this way? So that's kind of the logic behind See You Smile. That's kind of what got me involved in it, and that's what got me kind of motivated to say, you know what, like, I want to make people happy, I want to keep doing it again and again and again. But then I also want people to know that, yes, you have a lot of escapes. Yes, especially as like uni and college students and like just teens as a whole, like you'd always look at substances, like so many things that people do to escape the feeling that they feel. It was just like See You Smile, at least to me and to a few people that I know, maybe to a lot of people that I know, it was always that escape, that you can help someone else instead. You can find happiness in helping someone. You can find happiness in seeing a smile on someone's face. So that's what happened. So that's what, you have to check? Oh, okay, yeah. So that's kind of what happened, and that's kind of what made me like focus a lot on this club and focus a lot. And because of like all the stuff going on and stuff at least happening with me back home, stuff happening with me like mentally, emotionally, all this kind of stuff, I would always kind of shade it aside to say, you know what, like, it's not the time, go do something else. I was always like that, and I would do my best to focus on school, do my best to focus on my social life, but then also have this on the side. And then we had an initiative, the lunch bag event. I think this is, like, I can do a million events and a million ideas. This will always be that one idea. Like, this is gonna be the one thing to me that will top anything, is us packing lunch bags with a juice box, banana, and then a positive message in lunch bags that we design as well. And then we take those lunch bags and give them to the homeless. And yeah, I think that's the one thing that, like, I think on my deathbed, I want people to make lunch bags. So like, it's one of those things that, like, even the design, like, I spent the night of, I think I think lunch bag one, it was, I think by the end of IAW, I thought of the idea. I'm like, okay, like let me post about it and then tell as many people as I can. We post about it. Anyone that comes to my booth, I kind of just mentioned the thing, and then like people just began getting excited about it and just the concept of it. And I spent the night of just designing, I think 550 lunch bags, and just designing. And I made it to the day, like I made it to the day of the lunch bag, and I put all the stuff, we filled them up, and then the whole time I went back to the goodie bags at Halloween. I spent all this time designing these stuff. If I'm homeless, if I'm dealing with a lot, if I didn't have anything to eat, I'm not gonna look at a design, I'm not gonna look at a positive message. I'm just gonna eat and then chuck this out. And then someone highlighted that we had some people design and put positive messages, and I told them, listen, like this is a test, let's see what happens. Because we don't know how they feel. We don't know what they've been in. Like being homeless is, someone might wake up one day and he loses his job, ends up getting evicted, and he's out of the house, becomes homeless. So it can happen to anyone. So you don't know how mentally you don't know how bad it is. Like waking up one day in a bed and then sleeping, waking up the next day and I don't have a house. So it's obviously going to take a toll, and just like helping out even by just a little, that's enough with me. So basically what we did, we finished designing. Good? Okay. So basically we finished designing, we finished making the lunch bags. We had like maybe 25 people show up. We finished making them, and then we took them downtown. We went downtown, we began handing out, and it was like a light bulb moment at that time. Like the goodie bags was one thing. We got a call telling us, oh, mental health. It's just students dealing with exams. They still have food to eat, they still have a home to go to, they still have life kind of going fine. With someone that's homeless, it's not the same. So when we went downtown and we began handing out, I think it was maybe some of them we'd like, and the thing is with handing out, like you won't find videos of us handing out because that's not something that we want to do. The concept of making it and handing out, that's fine, but if someone's at that state, maybe he's homeless 1 week, why would we post a video of him and a photo of him that's gonna stick in people's face, and when you see him again, oh, I thought like you used to be homeless, like it takes away some dignity. So no point in doing that. I know I'm blabbing a lot, but basically with that, so basically what ended up happening is, I think on the 5th lunch bag that I handed out, I paused a second and I looked at if he's gonna notice the design, because I spent a lot of time designing it, and it was a light bulb. And he looks at it and he's like, he looks at the guy beside him, he's like, look what mine has. And that was it. Like that's all it took, and that's all I needed, and I think that motivated me until today. Like that was the one thing that kind of, I can always look back and say, this happened. One guy looked at the lunch bag, it made him smile. So anytime we would do a lunch bag event, I want to see you guys design lunch bags, and it's not gonna stop, and we won't end it. So that was kind of the small push that I needed, lunch bag wise. And then again, small initiatives would pop up, blood donations, food donations, clothes donations, and like you'd always find someone to help you. You'd always find things to do in the city. And if I'm gonna steal a quote that Ibi kind of, so if anyone asks me what See You Smile is, to this day, I don't know how to explain it. But I was standing beside Ivy and someone asked him, and he gave, I think, the best explanation possible. It's just a bunch of kids, a bunch of people in the community looking at voids that they find and finding a way to fill them. And basically it's finding, okay, like you find someone that is dealing with a lot, someone that is homeless, he'd need food, he'd need clothes, he'd need food, he'd need clothing items, just how to apply to jobs, how to do this, how to do that. Like, it's small things that if we don't know how to do it, we can find a way to do it. If we haven't done it in the past, let's think of new ideas. So it's always like small things, and it's always things that kind of like build up. So lunch bag, we used to make 250, 550, stuff like that. We ended up making 1,000 a few times. So total up until now, we made about 9,000 lunch bags. You look at places, like you look at meals, like we used to meet up at Khalid's house. We used to get like chicken, and on the side of us making food so we can eat, let's just make a few plates on top and just go give it out. So this isn't like me saying this stuff to say, oh, look at how amazing of like a guy I am, and look at like this is me showing off like stuff that we did. It's not the point. Yeah, so it's not, so a lot of it isn't to kind of like with See Smile, and this is something that I've always used to hint at, and this is something that I would always point out, that this is not a flex. This isn't something to show off. This isn't you having food at home, you having like money to buy the newest phone, you having like a job, you having all of the stuff. Should be enough motivation to say, you know what, like I've been blessed with all of this, how can I help someone else? And when we used to have the lunch bag events, when I'd see people post like taking like videos of the stuff, that was fine. But when I see people taking videos and saying, oh, look at, we just made 1,000 lunch bags, it's like, guys, like it's not that big of a deal. At the end of the day, it's a sandwich, it's a banana, and it's a juice box. They finish that, that's a snack. To any of us, it's a snack. So that's not something that you should say, oh, like I'm such a nice guy, I went and gave a homeless guy a sandwich. Someone has to come and thank me. I want people to see that snap and tell me, wow, like good job guys, amazing, all the stuff. Like it's like the point of us posting is just like the beginning, we began with me and a couple of people. Now it's about 50, 60 people coming out to events and like asking us how they can help. And that wouldn't have been possible if we didn't post. That wouldn't have been possible if we didn't kind of push the idea that this is something that, like, just like Ibi said, like filling a void, but then maybe to, like that I can add to is, it's to show people that filling that void is to show people that doing acts of kindness and helping people and being kind and changing someone's life does not cost much, and changing someone's life does not need that much. If someone as untalented and as dumb as me can come up with this stuff, then anyone can. And like that's something I hope you don't cut that out, because I want people to know that I genuinely can't think of anything that I'm good at. But the only thing that I know is I'm passionate about helping, and I'm passionate about doing something to give back, and I'm passionate about because at the end of the day, like I can sit down and make 50,000 lunch bags, and it's gonna take me until I'm 80 to finish that. But maybe one day, someone that showed up to one of the events, and he only showed up to one event, 20 minutes, and he left. Maybe when he has a family, he becomes the next Elon Musk. He would look back and say, you know what, at uni, a bunch of kids, they did this. Let me do the exact same thing, but instead of feeding 10,000 people, 50,000 people, you know what, I want to feed 5 million people. And just that 20 minutes that he spent in this club with us might motivate him to do something that all of us won't be able to do collectively. So that's kind of the whole basis of that. And like, again, going back to Islamically and all this kind of stuff. And this is, I think, the most significant, I think it was the most, like a question I think I was asked by Khalid, and like we just looked back, I think it was the 6,000 lunch bags. Like we hit 6,000 and we looked back and we said, like, alhamdulillah, like we've been able to do that. It's amazing, it's nice, it's fun and stuff. And as a joke, he just asked me, he's like, how long will we keep going? Like, is it, like, at what point will we stop? Because we just made it to 6,000. Is it like 7,000 is the limit, 10,000, 20,000? Like, at what point do we stop? And then it kind of got me thinking, but I think I got, like, it came to me like immediately. And I think it's the way of thinking. And it's been a way that I've been thinking like a long time, that like maybe, and again, this is like going to the Islamic side of things and going to the Islamic way of thinking about it, is maybe me making 6,000 lunch bags. Like if I put that 6,000 lunch bags on the scale, maybe on the Day of Judgment, I needed the 6,001 to go to heaven. Maybe that's the one that's gonna tip the scale. And like that's how I thought about it. And like it's not that, oh, like the 6,001, I'm gonna go make a sandwich. Okay, like it's not the point, but it's the point that because I don't know when I'm gonna die, because I don't know if any of these good deeds or anything that I've been able to do is gonna outweigh the dumb things that I've done in my life or the dumb things that maybe I've said, then maybe the last lunch bag I'm gonna make is the one that's gonna kind of tip that scale. So that's kind of how I think about it. That's kind of what keeps me kind of not just motivated, but keeps me still excited about doing this stuff. But also, like, aside, like, again, like this, like the whole point of making See You Smile, and not making it like a Muslim club, not making it like a club in the Middle East, like a club just people that like only Muslims allowed, only people like Palestinians allowed. Like the whole point of not doing that is you don't have to be Muslim to help. You don't have to be Palestinian to help. You don't have to look like me to help. You can be anything, you can be anyone, you can have the highest status, but then also the lowest status, and you can always find something that you can add to someone's life. And yeah, so that was one thing, but then also it's, so aside in what you can add to people's lives, it's what you can add to you. And like that's something about me that I like, kind of, is that even if I'm not the nicest to a lot of people, even if I've done a lot of things, even if people don't like me, at least I made someone smile. At least I might have, I don't even know if I've changed someone's life yet, but at least I attempted to. At least I did my best to, and if anything was to happen to me, if anything is gonna happen to anyone, like I always want people to know that I did my best. And like that's the biggest like thing that I'd label on my head, like I'd staple it on my face and say like, okay, maybe what I'm doing isn't enough. Maybe what I did to someone specific isn't good enough. Maybe it's not nice enough. Maybe I left a candle off that cake and I gave it to him and he got upset. I just want people to know that I did my best. And like, it's not that, oh, like it takes a toll on me and I'm upset, and mental health and all this kind of stuff. Obviously, I've dealt with a lot of issues. Obviously, I've been upset so many times, but I always look at it in a way that like I'm upset in my house as I'm eating a sandwich, as I'm eating a meal that I just cooked, and it's snowing outside. So thank God I'm at home with a blanket and I have soup in my hand. Wait, it was a sandwich. So that feeling, when you look at that and say, oh, I'm so blessed, always look and say, okay, like I'm upset, but I'm blessed. Someone's upset, but he's alone, he's outside in the cold, no blanket, no food. So that's when it kind of becomes like a lifelong chase of ending homelessness, helping feed anyone that's in need, helping any kid get an education, helping like anyone, just helping as many people as you can and helping as often as you can and doing as much as you can, even if it's not enough. Because again, back to Islam, one of the sayings that, so I think, it's not a hadith, I know it's not a hadith, but I know it's a saying, but it's also, even if it's not a hadith, it's a teaching, and it's a way of life that, so da'wah is inviting. So if I want to give da'wah to Islam, it's like if I want to invite people to Islam, obviously you'd see like the way that people would assume, it's like going to an imam, sheikh would explain stuff, someone that has any knowledge of Islam and deen and anything, They can give an explanation to stuff. They can give a solution to anyone's question and stuff like that. And this is one of those videos, and this is one of the explanations, I think. So it was, again, it's not a hadith, but it's a way of life. But Numan Ali Khan once said that, I think one of the Sahabis would say, you can chop all of this off. Yeah, I think like I'm blabbing. But yeah, so I think like, so one of the things that, like one of the sayings in Islam, with the teachings of Islam, with the lifestyles of Islam is, if you want to give da'wah and if you want to invite people to Islam, you don't use speech. And that would kind of negate all of the stuff that I explained about sheikhs and imams and stuff. But it's mainly to kind of highlight the fact that a lot of people, they'll just see you and they'll see how you act, they'll see how you talk, they see how you, like what you do in situations, what you do and how you live. And they can base beliefs on that. It's like, if this is someone that believes in Allah, this is someone that believes in Islam and all of this type of stuff, like why is he yelling at people? Why is he not nice? Why is he abusing animals? Why is he doing ABC? So it kind of like messes it up a bit. Like it doesn't, you can't tell someone, oh, like come be Muslim with me, and then like, exactly. So like you have to always know that, like I can know all the hadiths on the top of my head. I can be a hafiz. I can go to the mosque five times a day, and I can fast like my whole life. But if I'm not nice to someone, if I do not say, you know what, like if I go to a buffet and like not stop eating and then leave and see a homeless guy and say, you know what, I'm not gonna give him money because he's gonna spend it on like alcohol or something, then that says a lot about you. And like it says a lot about how people think, and it says a lot of how people see Islam and see like anything. Like it's not just Islam, it's just basically a belief system. It's just a lifestyle. Like even if someone doesn't believe in God, it's not that, like they should just look at it that they've been blessed with things in life. And even if it's not, like obviously I don't have the same amount of money that Elon Musk has. I don't have a lifestyle that I can put and say like I have the most ideal life, and now I can give. Do I pause? It's okay. It's okay. No, it's all good. Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah. This is okay. Good. Okay. So I can't. Obviously, I don't have the most ideal life. Obviously, I don't. I'm not a genius. I don't have that many talents. I don't have like a million like side hustles and stuff. But at the same time, I know that someone might not have anything. I know I've said that like 20 times the past, I don't know how long, but it's just the concept of always knowing that as much as you give, you didn't give enough. Because as much like a lot of times you'd see how people kind of handle the blessings that they have. Like if I have the newest iPhone, it's not going to be the newest one in a few months. If I have like a watch that tells me the time, it's not going to be the newest watch. If I have the best job, I still have a boss. And if I don't have a boss, he has like someone is still doing something in his life. I don't know what I'm saying, but it's just the concept. So it's just the point that anything you have in life, jobs, phones, watches, shoes, anything, like it's always gonna, you'd always look at something else. You'd always say, okay, I have this, but I want something else. I have this, but someone has this instead. But then you should take that type of thinking and apply it to you. yes, I am, yes, I have my job, yes, I have a good paying job, yes, I know all these people, yes, I have like things going good in my life, but how can I add to it? And like not add to it by going and buying stuff, not adding to it by going and like just keep doing stuff, but how can I give back? How can I take that and say, you know what, like, what can I do with what I have? Because some people get blessed with new phones, some people get blessed with stuff, but you should always look at, okay, I give someone a sandwich, I give a homeless guy a sandwich, okay, why don't I give 2 people? Why don't I give 5, 10, 15, 20, 1,000, 5,000, 9,000? I donated blood alone, okay, how can we host the blood clinic on campus? We find a way to help in soup kitchens, okay, why don't we find a new system that they can do to kind of fix what they've been doing? You find a place like Hijinks that's been helping the homeless, that's been helping those in need, okay, let's go see if we can help with how the place looks. Let's go help make the place welcoming and safe. So it's just small stuff like that that don't come off that small when like you do them, but slowly you get to that point, and like slowly you make it to a point that you can give back. I don't know what I'm saying, like I got lost halfway.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Like your message is actually organized in my job. We actually start just from
Back
the
to
beginning. You start. It's very concise. It's almost like 3 seconds split into chapters.
yeah.
So I get your point, but I guess if you were to rephrase it, like, what's the message you'd like to leave people? If you could say like one thing, I guess not one thing, but
Yeah.
it's like if you could summarize, I guess, like the main point, right? Like,
I think the main point
because you're
is,
giving lots of examples, which
yeah.
is great.
So I think the main point, and I think the main message that I kind of want to explain, and the main thing that I want people to think about, to look back on, to I think it's to always know that like as bad as things get, it's not as bad as it can be. And as sad as you can be, as sad as you get, it's not as sad as you can be. And as happy as you can be, as happy as you can get, it's not as happy as you can be. And I know I just said the same thing like a bunch of times and I just changed one thing, but the idea behind it is like, again, I'm sad that I failed an exam. I'm sad that like tomatoes became expensive. But then, and that's a dumb example, chop that off. But like, I'm sad that I failed an exam. Someone else is sad because he lost his house. I'm upset that like the gas went up. Someone's upset because he got into an accident, and it's a way of thinking. It's a way of kind of saying things, and I'm not always the best at it. I do get upset. I do get annoyed at situations. But when I go back and say, you know what, like, how can I do an act of kindness? What can I do to kind of shift my focus? Like, when you end up making a lunch bag and giving it to the homeless by hand, that's when you see things, and it's like, we finish that event and then we go eat. And you just look at it and you say, like, I just spent a whole day making sandwiches and meals and stuff and giving it to people that have nothing else to eat that day. And then you go and you, just by taking out my debit, I can go and buy a meal. And it's just that way of seeing things that kind of make you value the things that you have and the people that you know and the life that you have with all its blessings, even though it might not be as blessed as someone else. But the moment you begin focusing on what you have and what someone else doesn't, instead of what someone else has instead of you, that's when you begin seeing, this is the most messed up message anyone's gonna get. I apologize to anyone listening to this, but yeah, I don't know. So that's kind of, yeah.